The photographer who turned intimacy into art. There are photographs that document a moment. And then there are photographs that reveal a relationship. Few artists understood that difference more deeply than Alfred Stieglitz. Today, he is remembered as one of the most influential figures in American photography, not only for his technical mastery, but for the way he helped transform photography into a recognized form of fine art. But some of his most controversial and powerful work was deeply personal. It was centered on one subject, Georgia O'Keeffe. At the beginning of the 20th century, photography was still fighting for artistic legitimacy. Many critics saw it as mechanical reproduction rather than creative expression. Stieglitz spent his life challenging that idea. Through exhibitions, publications, and his legendary gallery, 291, he introduced Americans to modern art and argued that photography deserved the same respect as painting or sculpture. But it was in his intimate photographs of O'Keeffe that his philosophy took its most personal form. Stieglitz photographed her repeatedly over many years, not just as a subject, but as a presence. Sometimes she appears fully clothed, standing with quiet confidence. Other times, the camera moves closer, studying her hands, her face, her posture, the subtle language of gesture. And in his nude studies, the tone shifts even further. These images are not about spectacle. They are about closeness. Light falls softly across skin, not to expose, but to observe. The body is not treated as an object of display, but as a study of form, emotion, and vulnerability. In many ways, Stieglitz was exploring how photography could capture something invisible, psychological intimacy. At the time, nude photography was still heavily debated in America. It was often associated with either academic studies or sensational imagery. But Stieglitz approached it differently. He aligned it with modern art. Influenced by painters and sculptors of his era, he believed the human body could be used to express abstract ideas, emotion, structure, and rhythm. His photographs of O'Keeffe became part portrait, part abstraction. A hand resting on fabric becomes a study in shape. A curve of the back becomes a flowing line of composition. The identity of the subject and the formal qualities of the image begin to merge. But these photographs also carry something more complex. Because they were not created in isolation, they were part of a real relationship between photographer and subject, later wife and lifelong artistic influence. This is what makes them so compelling, and also so debated. Some viewers see them as poetic expressions of love and admiration. Others question the power dynamics behind the lens. And that tension is part of their historical importance. Stieglitz was not simply photographing a model. He was photographing someone who would become one of the most important American artists of the 20th century. And in doing so, he helped shape how both intimacy and identity could be represented in photography. Beyond O'Keeffe, Stieglitz's broader impact on photography cannot be overstated. He fought relentlessly to establish photography as a serious art form, equal to painting and sculpture. Through exhibitions, critical writing, and his influence on younger photographers, he helped shift public perception in the United States. Photography was no longer just documentation. It became interpretation, expression, art. Today, when we think about fine art photography, especially portraits and nude studies, Stieglitz's influence is still present. Not because he defined a single style, but because he expanded what photography could mean. His work suggests that a photograph is never just about the body in front of the lens. It is also about connection, perspective, and the invisible space between photographer and subject. Alfred Stieglitz helped bring photography into the world of fine art, but in his most personal images, he also revealed something quieter. That intimacy itself can become a subject, and that the camera, in the right hands, does not simply record what is seen. It reveals what is felt.